I am Andrea Tagliaferro, and I want to welcome everyone to Yacht Femme's last online forum for 2025. Today, we will explore how modern marketing strategies like influencer partnerships and tech integration can elevate the yachting industry's luxury appeal. It aims to empower businesses to adopt innovative tools while maintaining sophistication. You will gain actionable insights to stay competitive in an evolving market. Here's a quick overview of today's session. For our first session, we will have Economy Landscape, Let's Talk Money, with Betsy Lemire, Marina Jarnier, and Victoria Chalaya, moderated by Sophie Spignal. Then, AI Tools, CGI and Beyond, with Gira Sassoli and Sasha Williams, moderated by Jill Barbaro. Following with Brand Heat, How Brands Build and Maintain Momentum, with Alexandra Llewellyn, Daniela De Rico, and Kelly Downey, moderated by Miriam Fossati. And we will finish with mistakes and tips, dangerous mistakes marketers will make with today's consumers, with Nadia Warshawska, Rebecca Wichlocke, and Sophie Wilson, moderated by Sydney Bitter-Larkin. We welcome your comments and questions on whichever platform you're tuning in from, and we will do our best to address them during the forum. So let's begin with our first session. Our first session is Economy Landscape, Let's Talk Money. This session will explore how the evolving financial dynamics of the creator economy, a growing ecosystem of independent content creators who build communities and influence online. These content creators collaborate with brands, offering authentic engagement outside of traditional advertisement. We'll focus on pricing transparency, equitable monetization strategies, and how creators can navigate these challenges to thrive in an increasingly competitive market. To moderate this session, we are joined by Sophie Spignal. Big shout out because she has been with us on all four online forums this year. If you haven't tuned in, Sophie Spignal is the news editor at Super Yacht Time. She manages the daily news desk, focusing on stories from across the yachting industry, with a focus on yachts over 24 meters. She's dedicated to informing and engaging readers with the latest news and in-depth features from around the world. So let's bring everybody in.
Hi, Andrea. Thank you so much for that introduction there. So joining me today, we have three guests on this panel. So once again, this is the Economy Landscape panel, Let's Talk Money. And joining me today, our first guest, we have Victoria Chalaya. She's a top yachting influencer, a liveaboard expert, and a US CG captain. Victoria is the co-founder of Naughty Styles and Naughty Guys with over 200 million views on YouTube. She's an Explorer Charter yacht owner and the head of sales for Bearing Yachts Americas. So welcome very much. Welcome. Joining her as well, we have Marina Jarnier. She's the founder of Crusoe, a boutique agency delivering high-impact marketing and brokerage services to the yachting industry. She brings with her 6 years of experience as she connects professionals, yacht owners, and buyers with insight and precision. Thank you very much. And joining the other two is Betsy Lemire. She's the CEO and brand strategist and a creative lead at CEG Agency, where they connect brands to culture through brand strategy and influencer marketing with a focus on health, wellness, and modern luxury. So thank you very much, the three of you, for joining me today.
Thank you, Sophie.
Thank you. So this panel today, we're going to be talking about exploring modern marketing strategies, how influencer partnerships and content creators can elevate sort of the luxury of yachting, really. So I thought it'd be really nice if maybe we start off by talking about why brands and agencies should integrate influencers into their marketing strategies. So I'll put the question out to all of you and feel free to chime in whenever you have an answer. But I think a good way to start this off would maybe be to look at what are the benefits of incorporating content creators and influencers into a brand's marketing strategy.
So I can jump in and start us off. I feel like what we know and what we've seen in the last 20 years with celebrity influencers sort of moving into these digital content creators, we've seen really the content creators on the front lines of our modern day culture. And people are really absorbing not only their own lives and culture differently, but they're absorbing media differently. And so what they're really craving is they're craving authentic real glimpses and behind the scenes looks into how do people live their lives, and do it in a really refined way that's meaningful to them. And everybody has their own spin on what that means. And so that's why, content creators have such an advantage, because they have the ability to really reach across the screen and resonate. So, we're seeing content creators changing the landscape of the media industry and being able to bring messaging to the audiences and to people in ways we've never seen before.
Yeah, I would love to add to that is the way to look at it is basically, if you would have a brand that's advertising to a very, very large open space, even if you put it like niche related, it is still considered an advertising in these people's eyes. Essentially, working with a proper creator is you're talking to one person that is then talking to their friends. And that's, the trust that's been built by creator over the years. That's what really makes a huge difference. When the creator speaks to their community, it's essentially like, you talk to your friend and they talk to their friends. And that makes that's really like word of mouth marketing more so than a traditional advertising. And I think that's kind of the biggest difference between the two.
Yeah, actually. Oh, sorry, Betsy. Just to align with what Victoria said, is that we, in the history of marketing, we used to always have prescribers, actually, with every type of prescriber we had, rather on print, on digital, we always worked on other people to rely and to convey our message, but now with social networks evolving, of course, we have to align with the new generation expectation. Sorry, that's my cat. I'm so sorry, my cat is screaming.
Betsy, did you want to carry on with your points as well, just while we wait?
I mean, just in general, we call that organic content, right? The shift from sort of the curated content from the past. This is organic. It's really resonating at this higher level. And we have the ability to take that organic content and mobilize it in a very sophisticated way by adding paid and programmatic digital media strategies and media buying to that organic content. And we're doing that at scale. And I think that's where we can really take the luxury industry and the luxury marketing to the next level by being able to take that organic content that resonates in a really unique way, right? It's not, commodity items. It's something that needs to be done in a very specific manner, and being able to take that and put it to audiences at scale is something that we haven't seen before. And it is really sophisticated and emerging. And there's a lot of strategies that we at the agency have uncovered with our proof of concepts that has been really, quite astounding over the past year to 2 years. And we're going to see that change even more so in the coming, 5 years, I would say.
Yeah,
I think back in there. Oh, sorry.
Sorry. I also think that the influencers are able sometimes to bring in something completely fresh and very different outlook on products or services that companies provide. So if they have that creative freedom and it's a true partnership, then there is a chance for a very different way to connect to the audience, something completely different the brands might have not thought of.
I think that's a really good point there as well. So you mentioned about positioning themselves and having something different. So how can these creators position themselves? Because the thing is that there's so many creators now as well, so many influencers. What can they do to make themselves stand out in a crowd where everybody's kind of doing the same thing?
Yeah, in our niche, in the nautical niche, just over the last 5 years, that landscape changed so much. I mean, just thousands of creators coming out of like everywhere, which is really exciting because it's a really big space. Even though it's so nichey, it allows for a lot of people to do really well in it. So I'm always for it. We always support each other as creators. But some of the things that I'm thinking of is, definitely stay in your niche, and even within the niche, be even more nichey. So I think if you can find that space that's truly yours, that's really where you could shine the best. And just don't try to kind of do everything, trying to cover the whole nautical niche. Just do what's really working for you and what your audience resonates with. Also, be professional. That's a massive thing. I know it sounds like it's just a given, but it's incredible. Like, how many people just don't have their stuff together. Like, have your media kit, have your rates. do deliverables on time, have a proper communication with the brands. It's a massive difference. Sometimes communication is what gets you the job. Just be easy to work with, like be easy to work with the brand when they have changes, have proper contract structure. So you don't have, nobody is kind of trying to figure out what, at the end of the day, like, was that really what we agreed on? So I think treat yourself as a business. It's what really separates a proper creator. Another thing that's really important, be organic and authentic. Don't buy followers, because it's at the end of the day, it's just going to bite you in the butt. Like, this is, the brands know, there are tons of way of knowing now. And I think it's just try to really build, rather have less subscribers or followers, but the ones that really are going to go and click and buy and really follow through, than, buying hundreds of thousands of subscribers, which there are plenty of influencers in this niche have done. And I think at this point, it's kind of clear who is real, who is not. Mm-hmm. But it is something that I would not recommend it. At some point, there was a point that maybe that was okay to do in the beginning, but not anymore. And then just build a real relationship with the brand you're working with. So if your brand is approaching you, listen to what they want to do, and whatever you come back with as a proposal, don't try to just do only you. Also think of what they're looking for and how you can fit in. And sometimes it's okay to say no. Like, look at the partnerships as something that is helping you grow and helping them grow. And if it's not aligning right, just say no. Because if you're just going to do it for the money because someone is offering you the money, you will lose your authenticity and you will not get the actual gigs that you do want to get down the line.
Yeah, that's a really good point. And also, brands are looking at performance. So if that key mix isn't there, it's not going to perform. The audiences are going to sense that it is not truly within that niche and it's not organic. And so what's going to happen is there'll be no long-term partnership that would develop from there. So what brands are really looking for is they're looking for the creator to come to the table with all of those expertises. And what they want to see is they want to see that that creator has the passion for the brand, product, or service that they're trying to promote. And so when that passion and, really good mix is there, the brand sees it, and the brand will then take that from a transactional relationship into a more long-term partnership because the results will be there. So they're looking at, cost per acquisition, and they're looking for how does this convert, and all of those things that we're measuring. When the creator comes to the table and they're auditioning for that, they're really attending a casting call is what we call it. And so a lot of times, everyone's sort of at the even playing field at the start. And what happens is some of the creators are going to offer added value. They're going to offer a fair whitelisting rate. They're going to offer some additional things in the deliverables, like additional cut downs and reels and all these extra things. And they're going to put some organic content out there and see what happens with their audiences and show their worth. And so we'll be looking at those screenshots and measuring those KPIs. And then we'll go back to that creator and say, hey, we really like what we saw that first 30 days or that first 60 days. We want to offer you the ability to come on board with this brand and really become one of our ambassadors, or the ambassador for the brand that we're representing. And so that's kind of how the longer term partnership develop. It never starts out that way. It always develops over time. And so if the creators can come with a really solid foundation and have the ability to know who they are and know their audience and how to speak to their audience, the brands are hiring them for that reason. And so that's when sort of those perfect matchmaking abilities emerge.
I 100% agree with everything Betsy said. And to add to that point, for the brands, to something to keep in mind is that, especially in the YouTube space, you want to look at what the views are, and the subscribers don't matter nearly as much as they used to anymore, because there are tons of channels with 5 million subscribers, but then they're only getting 200,000 views in their videos. And then there's channels that have 200,000 subscribers and they gain and they're getting 500,000 views in the videos. And that's really the engagement is what you want to look at, and seeing the real growth of the channel is really in the views, especially in the YouTube space. So don't get blinded by just a creator that you found that has 1 million subscribers. you really got to do the research. You got to do the digging to see how they're really performing. And then once you have the partnership, then you have, you could see the metrics. Of course, you can request them. But I always say, like, just requesting metrics doesn't mean they're going to be real. So there are plenty of creators that, that lie. But once you really have some first time you work with them, like Betsy said, then you really know, okay, does this work? Can we do this again? Or it was, it was not real. So it's difficult for the brands. But yeah, just you have to do your research.
Yeah, a lot of times too, now with paid and programmatic, we have the ability to see the conversions before the creators do. So, now we've sort of flipped the script on that, and the creators are coming to us and to our brands and asking, hey, can we see how we performed? And so now it's for us to reveal to the creators. And actually at that point, when we start to see that there's some real conversions happening, the next kind of conversation we're having with creators is, let's now move beyond just deliverables and paying you for the value for deliverables. Let's talk about compensation and commissions and longer term sort of revenue shares and things of that nature. And that's where, the industry is really going.
And yes, influencer being professional is even more important since they talk to marketing manager, marketing officer, and brand agencies, actually marketing agencies. And we actually have strong softwares to measure all the figures. So if someone's come with a media kit with fake numbers, we will always see it because we actually just have to put the tag, the name of the account, and we have everything. So we had, for example, on my side in the marketing agency, we had some influencer with just 20% of authenticity of followers. But at the same time, we had people with less followers, but more authentic, like maybe 80 or 90% of followers, 100% authentic. And the thing is that if you reach to people with fake followers, you will pay for something you will not get an ROI, return on investment. So that's super important to either call an agency to get that analysis, or to do it by yourself. But having that software is a price, so that's why some marketing manager from brands just don't have the capacity to do this. But that's still a great tool to have and to always analyze, because the number of followers is not necessarily the truth. So we always have to measure. Marketing is all about figures and real measurement, not just creativity. So that's really important.
I think you've all made some really great points on this, and actually you've all given me kind of one example already. As we start to wrap up the end of this conversation a bit, what are some of the common mistakes that both brands and influencers are making when they're partnering together with some of these things? I think you've all touched on at least one, but are there some major ones that we're maybe missing from this?
I'd like to answer that just to start, because for me, there's a huge, big miss, not only just, tactically, but strategically. And I think that comes down to really looking at influencer marketing myopically. It is an integrated way to market. You have to be very diverse in the way that you're building out your scope of work. It's not all about just organic content. It's about a strategy using the content that resonates with your audiences and using it in a very sophisticated way that leans into traditional advertising standards, even as far as programmatic advertising. And I think a lot of times brands are very siloed in the way they're approaching marketing. They've got their content side of the business and their influencer side of the business very separate from their main marketing and digital marketing and even event marketing. And I think that if we have, one piece of advice at CEG, it's centralize your marketing strategy and incorporate influencer marketing at the center of it.
Would love to talk about what brands do wrong, because I think that's something that is sometimes not as important and doesn't come out, but it's really important if you want to create real partnership also with influencers. Just had a recent experience working with a very well-known brand, which should have absolutely had all their stuff and ducks in a row, but it was an absolutely crazy experience for us. Like, they were so unprepared. We felt like it was all last minute. They were completely, the way they treated us when we're there, like, we just felt like they were doing it because they had to, and there was layers of agencies involved, and it was a big brand. But the way it made us feel is like, we weren't important enough, so we didn't really understand why they even would kind of like working with us. So they were, obviously the brand wanted to work with us, but then the way it was translated down the line, it just felt like a missed opportunity. Like there were things that we could have done with them if they just communicated properly, if they, it would have been so much better of a partnership for us. And it also turned us off from working with them again, because it just made us feel like, oh, this was, what is this? Like, what are we? So I think that's really important, that both sides treat each other with a lot of respect and understanding that even though if we're doing a partnership, sometimes it looks like we're literally just having fun, we're full blown working. Like we are working, 14-hour days sometimes on some of these partnerships. And so like, just because it looks like easy, it's not. It's like we are the whole time creating, we're thinking how to make it better. So really treat us with respect. And the same thing goes for creator. Treat the brand with respect. This is, their marketing budget is hard-earned money. So don't just do your normal thing you do that might have worked for somebody. Put some effort into what makes it special for this brand, what will make it stand out. So I think the mutual respect is like super important, and sometimes that's a major mistake that both sides make.
Marina, do you want to have the last word here?
Thank you. Yes. So maybe on my side, I would say the lack of reflection and thinking about the positioning, because sometimes you choose an influencer which is at this level of positioning and your brand is like this. So the fact that you have different DNA and marketing positioning can just completely disturb the target, because they don't know where you are in the market. There are no, you can't be everywhere in the yachting industry, or in every market, you can't be everywhere. So that's why we have that marketing positioning. So you have the position in the market and you have the target, and in this target, you have influencers matching with this target. So you have to find the right one to get the clear and the right audience, which is the most important, if you don't want to waste money.
Well, thank you so much, ladies, for all, I will say, your advice, because so many of the comments that have been coming in have been popping up saying great advice. So definitely, if you want to find out more about some of these things, I'd definitely get in contact with some of these ladies as well.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you, guys. It was fun.
Thank you all. I think it's definitely a part of marketing that everybody's taking advantage of. So I think you guys gave them the basics and a lot of the advice for how to approach this and make this a great fit. So thank you all. We're going to take that 2-minute break. Don't walk away. The next session is coming back shortly.
Founder of The Crew Coach. With a background in psychology and lived yachting experience, I help captains and senior crew lead with clarity and emotional intelligence. Through our Up-Level program, we offer structured HR support, leadership training, and crew climate assessments that take the pressure off captains and give owners peace of mind. It is a smarter, more human approach to retention, performance, and culture at sea.
Welcome back, everyone. We're continuing with our second session. We will focus on AI tools and CGI and beyond. Discover the essential AI tools every entrepreneur should leverage, from CGI to automation. Learn how these technologies can enhance productivity, improve content creation, and streamline your marketing efforts. For those unfamiliar, automation in marketing refers to the use of software and technologies to perform repetitive marketing tasks, such as email campaigns, social media posting, and ad management, more efficiently and with minimal human intervention. AI tools are software systems powered by artificial intelligence that can analyze data, generate content, automate decisions, and personalize user experience, enabling businesses to operate smarter and faster. To moderate the session, we bring back Jill Barbaro. She was also previously in one of our forums, kicking us off with mental health, our first forum of the year. Welcome back, Jill. Jill Barbaro is the director of Jill Barbaro Associates, LLC, is a renowned yachting journalist, author, and consultant with over 25 books and leadership roles in top yachting publications. Jill brings unparalleled expertise to the super yacht industry.
Hi, Andrea. Thank you. Hi, ladies. So we have with us Sasha Williams and Chiara Sassoli. Sasha is the Global Charter Marketing Director at Northrop & Johnson. With 2 decades in the super yacht industry, she leads marketing strategy for a fleet of over 80 charter yachts. But she mostly and definitively works closely with owners to build successful charter operations. She also works in the sales department at Northrop & Johnson. Chiara is the founder of Linking Forward. She crafts marketing strategies for luxury and heritage brands, blending innovation and storytelling, and now exploring AI, CGI to shape the next chapter of brand experiences. So,
Thank you, Jill.
This is a topic that I know very little about. So I am going to rely on both of you ladies to inform me as well as the rest of our audience. So I think that, Sasha, we're going to start with you. So what challenges should businesses expect when integrating AI into their marketing strategies? And Chiara, by all means, feel free to pitch in if there's something you would like to add.
Hi everyone. Okay, so I think challenges is an interesting place to start, Jill, because as I bounce between US and Europe, I do see that there's a marked difference in the appetite for AI assistance in the workplace between the two regions. And yes, of course, there's challenges with any kind of new technology, but I think probably a good place to start would be in all of the ways that this can actually help us move forward, bring us more time. You know, how long have we been saying, most of us in our industries, that we just can't keep up? We can't keep up with everything that needs to be done in the day. And this is where I think that automation, particularly in marketing, in dealing with the number of clients that we have to and very high touch industry, is going to bring, it's going to be revolutionary, not just in our industry, but across all industries. As for the challenges, if we're going to start there, I'd say certainly resistance is going to be the number one challenge. I think resistance to new technologies, I think certainly yachting seems to be more stuck in the past than a lot of other industries, including in the luxury space. So I think the first thing that we're going to need to overcome is people's natural reluctance towards anything novel, learning new tech, and relinquishing control in some ways. You know, we're talking about automation on how client data is handled. And I'm not saying completely relinquishing control, but to have automation built in, there's got to be a certain degree of trust. So I think that's going to be one of the biggest hurdles we have to overcome.
Okay. Chiara, do you want to add to that, or should we move on?
Sure. I totally agree. I think there is a level of confidence that within the marketing industry and all of us need to come to closure with and understand that this is the future and we all have to learn all of these new tools. Everything is going pretty fast, but it's just the beginning. So I think we are ahead of the game if we start implementing now.
Great. So also, Chiara, then how can automation help optimize customer relationship management, CRM, for luxury brands?
Sure. I believe that one of the biggest misconceptions in luxury is that automation feels impersonal. So what I really love the most is challenging this idea and showing that you can still create a great story about beauty and craftsmanship and in luxury. So it just happens that you do it with a little bit more intelligence behind it, which does not absolutely replace the human touch, but it helps to amplifies it. When it comes to CRM, it is really important to be real and understand how well your CRM data is organized. And that is key to really a healthy start of any marketing initiatives. So once you've done that, you have to assume that your data is correct or that your client data is healthy. At that point, some of the brands that I work with, we use automation through CRM, which allows us to do something really great. So you reach the right person with the right message at the right moment. So you understand that if that data wasn't entered properly, well, it becomes a problem once you go into automation. In luxury, segmentation is really everything. It starts with demographic, but it goes above and beyond. So it includes behavior, lifestyle, and customer intent. So with automation, to speak to different audiences, we need to be very strategic at the beginning. And so, for example, if you want to reach and target an architect that is sourcing product for a new project or a homeowner furnishing their weekend home, you can clearly understand that these are very different targets. And the tone, the cadence, and the overall customer journey shifts tremendously. So I feel that the key for us is to focus on our role as marketing experts, that we start to orchestrate all of this data. So it's not just collected, right? But how can we use it through automation from the CRM tools? I believe that at this point in time, most of the companies have integrated a right CRM tool for them, which is often backed and powered by AI. So what we do at that point is really to analyze and translate that data and use it for actionable insights. And then at that point, after, we build automated journeys for the different targets. And that needs to reflect the client and the brand values and their expectations to where they want to reach and what their KPIs are going to be. So I feel that ultimately CRM automation in luxury is about showing up in a way that feels deeply personal, even when it's powered by technology. And it's absolutely doable. It's just very, very strategic at first.
Okay, thank you, Chiara. I just want to ask Sasha. So, are there really any potential risks of over relying on automation in marketing effects?
Yes, I would say that I'm still using it very much in the back end to speed up a lot of the steps that I would normally be using. So something as simple as crafting an email that you want it to be authentic, you want it to obviously convey your expertise, but you also want it to be tailored to the individual that you're addressing. there have been tools online. Maybe some people know about plugins like Crystal Knows that you put in LinkedIn, and it helps you to communicate with a hyper-personal way to your target audience based on their specific personality profile. Well, now you can do that with just, an automation tool like Zapier, ChatGPT, put a filter on. So, I mean, you can take a message to, let's say, 20, 30 or so people and make it ultra personalized still.
Yeah. I think that's important, the personalization. The personalization is extremely important, I would think. So you don't just get the standard, dear so-and-so. Yeah.
But beyond that, also allowing these automations to kind of do a lot of the prep work for you. You just need to put your finishing touch on, freeing up your time to have more of that one-on-one face time that our clients are looking for. I mean, at the end of the day, our industry particularly is a lifestyle choice more than any, sorry, sales brokers might not like this, but more than any logical business. It's a lifestyle you're buying into, and it's a people business. So the more time we can spend face-to-face and have the computers work for us, the better.
Yeah. So, Chiara, I know that you work with all kinds of luxury brands, not just yachting industry, but can you speak to what the yachting industry can learn from other sectors, from other luxury brands about AI integration into marketing?
Absolutely. Yachting already operates in that ultra personalized, high touch space, but I believe it can borrow and share ideas with sectors like hospitality and designs that are already using AI, not just for efficiency, but to really elevate storytelling. Recently, in my work with hospitality brands, we are using AI and CGI to visualize spaces before they actually exist. So whether it's a hotel suite or a villa or even mood boards, that same approach could be powerful for yachting too. So just think of an AI generated itinerary based on your client's preferences. And then you also combine it with a walkthrough of the yacht, which is built and powered by virtual reality experiences. Again, CGI tools, on my personal view, are getting better, but I'm not a big fan of using them for customer-facing activities, at least in luxury. I tend to rely on CGI for internal use and projects of sketching new ideas. Those are very quick, and it brings things to life if you have to have a presentation with a client and understand if they like an idea or not. AI in luxury, yes, it's really about listening better. And the best applications, they need to be subtle. Maybe predictive search, invisible concierge style services, or even personalized recommendations. Those are really well received. Again, the mass market brands are really taking these tools to a whole new level, but I feel that luxury needs to take a more curated approach to everything. So it is important to know what the tools are and really understand what not to integrate, because that is as important as integration itself. So again, going back to us, CMOs, director of marketing, in-house, external, I think we are the one that needs to set the tone in shaping how AI tools get integrated. And ideally, then the rest of the team and the client's team can then operate these hybrid models that are combining creativity on a higher level, and then with intelligence tools that actually make the day-to-day work much quicker and faster. That's the goal. I don't think that a lot of companies are there yet. But again, these tools are evolving, and it takes time and effort really to get there.
Yeah, thank you. We just got a funny text from somebody about AI, how it translated something into something that's completely unintelligible. Sasha, I know that you deal with a lot of yacht owners. Some might be savvy in AI, some not. But what do you think about this whole subject vis-a-vis the yacht owners that you deal with?
I can't say it's really come up in conversation so far. I think everyone's aware of it, everyone's dabbling in it and trying it out. And like Chiara was saying, I think we're still very much using it in the back end. It's not, I don't think anyone is going to feel comfortable with things just yet, certainly not in our industry, which is, very high stakes. I think there's probably lower stakes facets of the yachting industry where you can use it with less risk. One thing that Chiara did say earlier, though, that I would say is definitely a point I'd like to get across, is that the data, the quality of the content that you're using or your process, what's the word? Sorry. Efficiency.
I just want to just say that we only have a couple more minutes, so that's all. I'm getting the...
Okay. That's it. Data is paramount. If you put rubbish in, you're going to get rubbish out. Absolutely. And I still say that the idea is that you get the expert data in and an expert filter at the end. But ultimately, the work that it can help you power through is fantastic.
Great. So just in one sentence as a wrap up, anything else you'd like to add to the uninitiated, both Chiara and Sasha? Just something that you'd like to tell the audience that's not as familiar as you are with this subject.
If I may leave one nugget for everyone listening, I think that you have to invest in learning a lot. Sign up, read, take classes. It's still at a stage where you can catch up pretty quickly. And in marketing, AI is where the bigger wave that we already see happening. So if you don't hop on the train, you don't want to be left behind. And that is very important. I use a tool which I love. It's called sectionai.com. And you take classes, you take short courses on every type of subjects in AI. So if I may recommend, do your own studying and for yourself and for your team.
Yes, research is always good. Sasha, do you have a little nugget for us?
Just two parting nuggets, really. I said quality in, quality out. I can't emphasize that enough. And the last thing is, don't be afraid of getting a little helping hand from the robots so that we can all be more human again and have more, occasions like this to actually speak with one another.
Great. All right. Well, thank you, ladies, so much.
Thank you, Jill and Andrea and Sasha.
Thank you.
Thank you all. Actually, this is what I do all day long, automation, integration, tech stacks. So I love what you guys said. Definitely quality, quantity, make sure you layer that human touch on top of anything that you actually create through these tools. And then the endless cycle of learning, because we may be super in love with one tool today, and then if you blink and you stay stagnant, you'll miss the train on the next thing that you should be learning. So thank you all for this insightful session. Everyone seems to have loved it so far, and they actually want more, but we're going to do that 2-minute break and we'll continue with the forum. Thank you again.
I'm Bob Allen, and I work with a law firm known as Robert Allen Law. We're a law firm dedicated to serving the needs of people in the yacht industry. We're a team of lawyers that has experience in virtually all the fields surrounding this business. And if you're in the business, you know how important it is to work with lawyers who know yachts, right? And know the type of problems that arise and know how to solve them. Our job as lawyers is to help deals get done.
Welcome back. We're halfway through the forum and we'll continuing with our third session. Next, we'll dive into brand heat, how brands build and maintain momentum. Unpack the strategy successful brands use today to stay on top and top of mind. This session will dive into creating sustained brand momentum, adapting changing market trends, and maintaining a strong connection with your audience. To moderate this session, we're joined by Miriam Fossati. Miriam Fossati is the owner of Premier Cellars, a boutique wine concierge service dedicated to evaluating wine experiences through private tastings, yacht provisioning, cellar curation, and immersive journeys through the worlds of most iconic wine regions.
Thank you very much, Andrea. Let me introduce our panelists today, because this is a very interesting group of women that I'm so excited to talk with. Alexandra Llewellyn is the CEO and founder of Alexandra Llewellyn, set up in 2011, designer of beautifully handcrafted and intricate detailed games and lifestyle products. Alexandra's works mix play into something magnificent. Daniela De Rico is a business developer for the Architecture and Interior Design Division at Technogym, managing global design firm relations. With a master's from the Politecnico di Milano, she brings a strong experience from Milan, London in luxury interiors and support wellness designs projects. Then we also have Kelly Downey. She is SVP of Communications at Shamin Abbas, leads brand storytelling on top-tier clients in luxury sectors, automotive, marine, aviation, real estate, design, tech, and more. And she recently celebrated 15 years with the ultra high-end network firm. So today is a very exciting topic because it's talking about brand building and maintaining the momentum that we all really want to know about. So let me start with Daniela. When the first question would be, what are the foundational principles for building a brand momentum that stand the test of time?
Yeah, hello everyone. It's a pleasure to be here with this beautiful community of women. First of all, thank you for inviting me to this forum. It's not easy. It's not easy at all. I think it's important to have a clear vision and mission inside a company to understand where you want to go. And for example, in Technogym, the mission is to spread the wellness lifestyle. So starting from here and being loyal to this mission, then you can build, then you can evolve during the time, but then you have this, let's say, life to follow, that it's always there, and it's going to bring you back to the roots every time. So this is important. I think another topic is it's important to keep on investing in innovation. That's also something that is super important. The motto of our CEO is that if something is appreciated and understood, it's already over. So you have to move forward.
That's true.
That's also super important. And also it's important to have, I think, the customer at the center of everything you do. Or your, let's say, marketing plan, business plan. You have to focus on the client, on the customer, on the customer experience. Yeah.
Definitely. Thank you. Kelly, can you share examples of brands that have successfully maintained their momentum for decades and maybe share with us maybe some lessons that we can draw from it?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think there's one gold standard brand that sort of comes to mind in this realm, and that's Hermes. I think everyone watching this panel now knows who Hermes is, and and what they do, the products that they create. And they've developed this demand really through their deep commitment to their craftsmanship, and that craftsmanship is just at the core of everything that they're creating. You know, I watched an interview recently with the artistic director from Hermes, and they asked him why Hermes is so expensive, and he said, "It's not expensive, it's costly. It's costly because that's what it costs to make something absolutely properly. It's not expensive. Expensive is when you pay a lot of money for something and it doesn't deliver." So there's something from really delving into what are those differentiating factors that are going to make a difference from a storytelling perspective. Hone in on those and pull those out, whether it's the craftsmanship, whether it's the technology, whether it's the special things that your team is offering, the service you're offering. Pull those out, and those are the elements that are really going to resonate in the long run and make your brand desirable.
Yeah, that is so true. That's definitely something we definitely have to keep in mind. Alexandra, what roles does customer loyalty play in sustaining brand momentum, and how can it be nurtured?
Hi, wonderful to be here today. Thank you so much. Well, as Kelly says, I mean, I think first and foremost, it starts with the product. I mean, it's just about the quality and I'm very lucky. I have a small business based in London, and we work with extraordinary craftsmen. So first and foremost, it's the quality and also the thinking that goes into that product. We predominantly make games, but we also do all sorts of other things. But when you're making a game, it's about the playability, the materials. So it has to be sort of incredibly thought out. Now, when you get all those things right, and you have incredible clients, those clients will talk about your product and they will be your best. You know, so much of our, so many of our clients come through word of mouth, and that is the strongest form of brand loyalty and communication. Yeah. So I think it's getting all those little sort of points of formula right. I think also in terms of brand loyalty, you know, we're lucky to build strong relationships with our clients. Again, that's easier to do because a lot of the work that we're doing is bespoke. So, you know, that's something that's a sort of byproduct of that relationship. But and then on top of that, we try and build kind of in an element of surprise. So if we're delivering an extraordinary piece that's been commissioned, it's always important for me that that client will receive something that they weren't necessarily expecting. And so all of those are all sorts of fibers that kind of weave together and hopefully, you know, encourage that brand loyalty and also that momentum.
That's very beautifully said. I mean, thank you, thank you. Daniela, how can brands identify emerging trends early and integrate them without losing their identity?
That's a good question. Not easy, but it's something super important. I think, again, it's important to start, as also Kelly and Alexandra said, from, you know, the customer. So it's important to be, I always say that it's good in a company if you start from the sales team, so you're directly in touch with the customer and you can really understand the needs. And so as soon as you understand the needs, you can understand where the trends are going. But again, I think it's also important to work on to be updated about all the technological, let's say, innovation that are about to arrive in the market, and having maybe the opportunity to have feedbacks also from like as part of customers. It's also something that it's really important, and provide the different customers as well, because it's important also to understand, you know, the different needs, the different demographics, because can change depending on the area of the world where the customer is, the traditions, and we work in a lot of very different, let's say, industries, in yachting, in Olympic Games, and it's not easy to be in touch with so many different customers, but it's also an opportunity, because maybe from a completely different industry can arrive like the intuition of a trend that is going in another industry. So I think also not having like a vision and not being completely closed inside the industry where you're focused on. It's so taking also inspirations from completely different words. It's super important.
Thank you. Alexandra, would you like to comment on this as well?
No, I'd agree with Daniela. I think it's about being dexterous. I think there is so much noise out there. I think it's about, kind of remaining core to your focus, listening and keeping your eyes and ears open, but not being swayed too much by everything that's going on out there. And I think, as a brand, the most important thing you can do is really identify your soul, what it is that you're passionate about, what it is that's important to you. And I think it's really important to hold on to that and not stray too far. So to listen and observe, but not be taken in the buffer around the wind, not taken direction to direction.
That's so true. Kelly, what are some effective ways to track and respond, like shifting consumer behaviors in a rapidly changing market? Because this is happening all the time. So any thoughts on that?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we see these shifts in the market, as you say, all the time. And it's really interesting, the amount of data that's out there about the ultra high net worth individual. Obviously, there's platforms like WealthX or like Knight Frank where you can find general statistics. But I think it's getting a little bit more nitty gritty and granular, and really doing your research where you start to learn the industry inside out. Working in PR, we find that reading the outlets that our end user, the clients that our clients are trying to reach, is paramount to our understanding. Whether that's Town and Country or Popular Mechanics, to really get to know that industry inside out. Also, as Daniela said, looking at parallel industries like private aviation or automotive or marine, because there's so many things that you can glean from parallel industries and utilize in your own practices. Also looking at emerging markets and seeing what's happening there so you can embrace, what might be happening in the Middle East or in Southeast Asia and apply it to your own strategy. So really looking at all of those elements. And of course, in the yachting industry, we have these wonderful opportunities like boat shows a few times a year where you have network in person with these people, and have the opportunity to speak with competitors or folks working in industries similar to yours and see what they're up to, and glean so much information that you can then apply to your own strategy.
Awesome, perfect. The next question is very interesting for me because it talks about what are the essential components of a compelling brand story, because I think storytelling is so important when you're building a brand, and what makes this resonate across different audiences and demographics. Can you give us a little tip, Daniela?
I think it's fundamental to have like storytelling, and as Alexandra said too, to have like to not lose, what I was saying also before, the life, the mission, where the company comes from and what's the mission and why everything started. So it's super important to keep on, to stay loyal to the values that started everything. Otherwise, you can lose with all this noise that it's around, with all those trends, to stay focused on the mission and to stay focused on to the excellence, because again, the quality, in the end, the quality of the product, of the service that you give is going to pay you, it's going to be in the end what is going to bring you back the loyalty of the customers, as Alexandra Kelly said, or say also about the mess, it's the quality of the product. Then it's all about word of mouth. So and yeah, about the demographic, it's a bit of what I was saying before. It's very interesting to adapt to different industry, to different countries. And yachting industry, we have everything all together at the boat shows, and we don't even need to move because we have everything there all those differences. And it's again, it's a challenge, but it's also an opportunity to have new inspiration and to improve and to grow as a company.
Thank you.
Yeah, I can add to that, Miriam, just because storytelling is such a critical part of what we do every single day. And Alexandra, you said something incredibly important. It's like understanding what the soul of your brand is. And I think we find that so many owners that we meet with, whether they're a founder, an owner, or a CEO, don't really know how to describe themselves. They can't say in an impactful elevator pitch exactly what they do. The first thing that we do whenever we onboard a new client is almost lock ourselves in a room for half a day or a day, and try to get to the core of what that story is. An effective way to even think about doing that is, capturing key words as the owner is telling their story and putting them up on a whiteboard and looking at that together and seeing, what's most impactful, and then really honing in on what are those, what's that key story that you're going to lean on in any communications moving forward. It's really a good place to start, because if you don't have that foundation, none of the other storytelling elements are going to come if you can't even articulate what the brand is and what they do.
Yeah, very true.
I can add something. It's incredible how talking to, I'm more focused on architects and interior designers, but talking also to final customers, final clients. Quite often it's more about the storytelling of the experience that you are able to give to them, and again, the storytelling of the company, how the company was founded, and the mission, then going too much deeper into the products. Then it's next. But as soon as they fall in love with the brand, with the experience that you are able to give, in terms of connecting different, touch points, and again, inside the yacht, experience that the client can do, then you go deeper into, analyzing which product, which collection I want. But the first step, the most important, is to make them fall in love with the philosophy of the brand.
So true. Now, in that topic, I wanted to ask Alexandra, how can storytelling be used to bridge the gap between a traditional luxury appeal and modern consumer expectations?
I mean, storytelling, my subject, is what I love to do. So it's whether it's a visual language or whether it's the materials you use. I mean, I think it's that excitement of talking about a product. And maybe by modern consumer expectations, you potentially mean, sort of dealing with elements like sustainability and craftsmanship and the origination of pieces. I think for us specifically, topics such as sort of sourcing, sustainability aren't really a USP. It is just inherently part of what we do. I mean, and I think that's woven into the fabric of what we're making. So the materials will help narrate the kind of visual language of the piece, but that will also inherently talk about where they're sourced from. And I think that there are so many stories to tell. I can see I'm trying to talk really quickly, but I could go off on a million tangents. I'll answer your question.
Yes, and we have a few more minutes because this is a topic that I think we could talk hours for. Is there anything that you would like to leave us? So something that can stay in the back of our minds, that whenever we're writing something or presenting something, what is that kind of message that you will leave us? And that's for all of you ladies.
Where to start?
Go ahead. You take it.
I think, going back to what we were saying before, I think it's just constantly boiling down to the essence of what you're representing, what you're doing, and because if you are articulate, that will be remembered, and it's also about the connection. So if what you're saying or doing is articulate, those clients and guests or whoever it might be will be able to kind of relate to that and be able to, and it will have much more of an impact on them.
Yeah, I mean, authenticity is absolutely critical. I think that's something that the very first panel really hit on, is just smart consumers can see right through anyone that's not being authentic, whether that's in their advertising, their communications, their website, their, you know, any touch point along the way that they come across. Everything has to be organic and authentic, and, you know, the values have to be aligned with what you're actually putting out into the world and saying that you want to deliver.
So true.
Well, I agree, of course, with this, going back to the authenticity and then the value, just to, I don't know, to leave you with something it's, you know, different, and it's, you know, so going back to the topic of the talk of the panel, that is, you know, marketing and how to keep, you know, the brand. I think again the motto that I mentioned at the beginning, you know, trying to be always trying to look further and to say if something it's already understood by most of the clients, probably you have already, you don't have to stay quiet where you are, but you have already to move forward.
So true. Thank you, ladies. Thank you. It was so fascinating to listen to you guys talk.
Thank you, Miriam.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you all. Again, the comments about the brilliance of the storytelling quality. I think a lot of the nuggets that you guys gave us will ring in our heads. I can't get over the, you know, starting with our mess. It's like,
I love that
story. So, thank you all. We're going to take that 2-minute break and we'll continue with the forum.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Okay, we made it all the way to the end, and this is our last session of the day and for 2025, I guess. So for our final session, we will be discussing mistakes and tips, dangerous mistakes marketers make with today's consumers. Avoid common pitfalls in modern marketing. This session highlights critical mistakes marketers often make and it also provides actionable tips to ensure your campaigns resonate with today's savvy consumers. To moderate the session, we welcome Sydney Bitter-Larkin. Sydney is the PR and content lead at the international yacht company IYC. She has served on the YBY Monaco board since 2022 and was appointed vice president in 2024. Hi, Sydney.
Hi, thank you, Andrea. I'll start introducing everyone. Good morning, afternoon, wherever you're joining from today. Welcome to our session. As Andrea mentioned, mistakes and tips, 3 dangerous mistakes marketers make with today's consumers. In a landscape where consumers are more informed, more connected, and more discerning than ever, even the most well-intentioned marketing efforts can backfire. So this session will really dive into creating sustained brand momentum, adapting to changing market trends, and maintaining a strong connection with your audience to help you navigate, the marketing minefield with confidence and creativity. So before we dive in, I'm going to introduce our speakers that we have here on the screen today. Starting with Rebecca Whitlock, who is the founder of Yachting. She is a marketing consultant and copywriter with a background in travel and super yacht hospitality. Based in France, she helps yachting businesses grow through strategic marketing, PR, and events. We also have joining us Nadia Varshavskaya, who is the founder and CMO of Spinnaker. She is also a yacht broker at TJB Super Yachts and Super Yacht Show and podcast host, co-owner of Spinnaker magazine, and a wellness retreat organizer and marketing and brokerage consultant. Welcome, Nadia.
Thank you.
And we also have Sophia Wilson, who is the managing partner at Sequoia Communications, and they represent leading hospitality brands and select super yacht clients. She has more than a decade's experience in luxury journalism and specializes in strategic editorial-led communications. Hi, Sophia.
Hi, Sydney.
So before we kind of jump in, the first topic we're going to be looking at is really identifying what those common marketing mistakes are that can alienate the modern consumers. So actually starting with Sophia, can you kind of elaborate on what are the most frequent ways marketers unintentionally alienate their target audience?
Yeah, I mean, I think I'm obviously coming at this more from a kind of brand positioning narrative perspective, but I think the most common thing is true across both marketing and communications, and it's just not understanding your target audience. Who are you talking to? What's the message you're trying to get across? And what's the message that they want to hear as well? And as a kind of second from that, I think it's also when we know a change is coming. We know that millennials and Gen Z in particular deal differently with messaging and marketing. And I think sometimes brands go too far to try and create a new message or a new idea. I mean, the Jaguar relaunch was a really key example of this, where they're very brave, but they arguably took it too far and kind of alienated potentially a whole next generation of audience. So I think it's that key message of who you're trying to talk to, what are you trying to say? It sounds very, very basic, but I think that is one of the common pitfalls when it goes wrong.
Perfect. And maybe diving deeper into that, how do you think outdated stereotypes or assumptions about consumers harm those marketing campaigns? So maybe looking at the Jaguar example as well.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's generally an issue where, and you do see it sometimes in yachting. I'd say yachting sometimes, not wishing to criticize, can be behind some of the other luxury industries, particularly in how they're portraying. We've all seen the standard yachting marketing material with a very beautiful woman in a bikini and a very handsome man and 2 kind of perfect children all on a charter holiday. And I think in a way that doesn't do the super yacht industry justice as to the lifestyle options that it achieves. So that's kind of what I see within the stereotypes within the super yacht industry. But then I think also there's kind of a much bigger change than that. We know that the wealth transfer is coming. It's 124 trillion that we're expecting to change hands by 2048. And of that, nearly 50 trillion will go to women. And that's going to be the first time that you're suddenly going to have women that are going to be in the hands of, particularly for the super industry, but other luxury industries as well. And I'm not sure, potentially historically, that the industry has always thought about how they communicate or market with women. It's always been very male slanted. And I think that's a really exciting opportunity as to how communications and marketing can move forwards.
Absolutely. And turning to Rebecca, could you maybe share some examples of marketing campaigns that backfired due to poor audience understanding?
Okay, so I won't name any brands, but I will use one example of a yachting company that launched at a boat show. Now, they'd done a little bit of sponsor PR, so this was building their brand up, leading to the show. And the company founders were 100% certain that they didn't want any user-generated content across any of their social media. It just wasn't going to happen. And I pushed back on them and said, look, at the boat show, you're going to have media on the boat, photographers, other industry professionals. They'll be taking videos, photographs, tagging you all over social media, but they were 100% firm. It's not going to happen. We don't want anything else on our social except our nice branded template. So they went to the boat show, and 2 days later, one of the founders pulled me aside and he said, "You're right. I've seen posts going out across social, and I've seen other brands are sharing content from people that aren't actually at their company. So we need to do that. We need to do it quickly." So in the meantime, they'd missed over 40 really excellent pieces of user-generated content that they could have reshared, reformatted. They had somebody who was monitoring all of the tags and mentions online, but they just were so fixated on their branding that they missed the opportunity to understand how people actually act at boat shows. And it was nothing to do with data or strategy or anything. It was more to do with customer behavior. And so I think the lesson that anyone could take away from that is you really need to monitor your brand mentions online. So whether that's using something like Google Alerts or a tool like Talkwalker, you've got to be on top of where people are talking about you so you can react to that. And then another tip I would say is to have a dedicated person at boat shows taking care of your social media, if you can, if you have the capacity to do that. Because as much as you can pre-schedule content, having someone there who's able to react for things that are happening that might pop up that are unexpected is super valuable for a brand. It's more efficient to keep things in the flow when you're there, because things pop up and you need somebody who's going to react there and then, because everybody's online, they're on their phones, and it's part of how people are communicating with brands now.
Absolutely. And turning to Nadia now, maybe could you tell us what role does over-reliance on automation play in creating a disconnection with consumers?
Thank you very much. First one, I want to say hi to everyone and happy to see you and join this beautiful forum. And I'm totally agree with Sophia about the communication. So when we're talking about we building the social media, why we doing this? Let's go from the beginning. We building the trust, because the main purpose of everything is build the trust, which allow us to sell the product, because we still have kind of final product or service what we want to sell. To be honest. So by building that trust, we all the time right now, what I see from my colleagues, and even I did that mistake as well. I was using too much AI. I forget about that AI. It's just like a tool. Can you just make this communication and that bridge, I need to just cross that bridge faster by using that tool, but not completely forget about this personalized services and personalized communication, personalized attachment, what I can have with my customer. And it's not just about that there should be a purpose, that should be a strategy, that should be some kind of style and meaning and everything else. There should be that attachment to you. So I never wanna anyone forget that you are unique and that you have this kind of relationship what you're trying to build. And by using AI, you can use whatever you want. I have a list of AI what I'm using every day. I can send this list right now to our chat group. It's really helpful, but always have this personal kind of things in your background. Send a letter, send the email, call one per month just to ask something, or your client or your partner or your, I don't know, someone you're working with. And because we will have maybe in one video, if we're talking about social media and building the content, we can have in that video 1,000, 100 of views, but it not will bring you nothing if you don't have that trust, if person doesn't see that it's really helpful to him and he feels that you really understand what he needs. And that one you can build through that personalized connection.
And kind of leaning on that, and obviously, I mean, it's important, as you said, the human aspect, I think, will remain very important even with AI growing and everything. I mean, now there's even tools, obviously, to humanize and all these things. And I think we've become capable of recognizing when something is written by AI, actually. But maybe, Rebecca, you can touch on how marketers can ensure that their campaigns feel authentic rather than contrived. How do we remain authentic with the storytelling we're making?
Yeah, that's a good question. So to answer for that, like I want to just go again to the beginning. It's my favorite part to do it. What is a marketing campaign is? Like it's about like understanding your goals, because you have a goal. You don't have a goal like I just want to like this and that. Like you have exactly goals what you have. Like I want 100 followers. I want my video take like 1,000 or 12,000 views. I want to sell this yacht next month like to 5 clients, yeah? Or I want to, whatever you have. That goal should be routed like pretty kind of like exactly how they are. And after that, you need to understand, okay, with which audience I'm working. You need to know their goals, their desires, their problems, and how to solve that. And through all of these things, you're already kind of building your content plan, your strategy, because you have to have this to approach all these goals. And we can like forget in the middle of everything why we're doing this. And for that, we need that strategy plan, because client, what is marketing is about, yeah? It's not about like nobody right now not taking this like, like you send it a video like this yacht book right now. No, sometimes I'm building like my Spinnaker magazine exists 10 years. What I was doing through all that time, I was building the community to do something later. Why? I'm saying this to you right now because sometimes in content plan we're putting kind of messages, one message, other message, and it's kind of like be going for months, and in the end, client think, "Oh, I wanted this yacht." No, you made it. Him wanted that yacht by understanding all these things and going through that plan pretty like, all the time correctly. So this is first thing, and there should be as well kind of right balance between your goals and your client goals. That's a very important thing. So this is kind of why we all doing this marketing, yeah. Mm-hmm. And other thing, what is really more important than anything else, you cannot build anything if you don't have, or you have for sure, you have, everyone has. If you don't understand your unique style, if you don't understand your gift, if you not share that through your presence, through your brand, and through your brand personality as well, because that right now worth a lot. Like right now, even brand personality going much forward than like your business. Like I was laughing just yesterday when I was thinking about, I'm sorry, I will take that topic like an example. P. Diddy, yeah? Who wanna right now buy his easy, that sneakers? Nobody. And that says something, like you need to be someone who really understand what they're doing, who they are, and go with that like pretty consistent and in your own truth, and never like mess around with your clients. That's for sure. That's my answer.
Thank you. And Rebecca, do you have anything to add on that topic?
Yeah, well, I think just touching on authenticity, in yachting, we sort of have this obsession with really polished content, and so it actually barricades people creating content, because a lot of yachting professionals have imposter syndrome, so they're not comfortable being on camera, or don't think they look good enough, or their accent or whatever. And so I think, we all started at 0 followers, and that first video is the hardest one to do. And the easiest way to sort of maintain that authenticity is live videos. So whether you do an Instagram live or you're posting a story on the go, that really helps with authenticity. And if you don't have, any live content to put out, just make sure that the content you do put out is really in sync with your values, with who you are and what you stand for, and eventually that style and what you're known for and what your sort of personal brand will really resonate with your audience. And I think the main thing is don't be afraid to repel and attract people, because I think whatever you do, you're going to have some people not agree with what you do, and you've just got to get comfortable with that. At some stage you might get a few social media trolls, and you can always hit delete and block at the end of the day.
Of course. And Sophia, what do you think are some best practices for incorporating personalization without seeming intrusive?
I think, like you touched on, I think we're already learning as humans, we're learning to tell the difference between AI generated and what's been personalized. And I think moving forwards, there's going to be a big split in that. So we're already quite comfortable with AI generated personalization. I don't know, I no longer blink twice when Amazon does my recommended next buys, or Netflix tells me what I want to watch next. We've kind of become accustomed to that. But I think what's really interesting from a marketing perspective is that kind of personalized authenticity, and when it is truly personalized. And I think that's when you start to get the connection. And I think the CPO industry is in an amazing position where you're only trying to talk to the 0.001% of the population. So you have the ability to make it really personalized and really build those connections. And I think that's really exciting for the industry, but it is going to be important about how you showcase that. I mean, we work a lot on the hospitality side. Our clients work really hard to personalize for our clients. So they do a lot of guest research beforehand to make sure that when the guest checks in, they already know stuff about the guest. There's little touches that have already been put in place. If a guest mentions something when they're staying at one hotel, the next time they come back, that little touch has been added. And it doesn't have to be huge things. It can be really small things, from a guest mentioning when they check in that they're excited to watch Eurovision tonight. And then when they come back from dinner, the butler's already put Eurovision on the TV. It's really little touches, but it's authentic personalization rather than the kind of AI personalization, which has a place, but in a way, I think they're two totally different things.
For sure. And we only have just a few moments left, so I'm going to ask all of you now just for some closing and kind of forward-looking thoughts. What red flags should marketers watch out for when they're creating, or campaign planning? Whatever resources they have, what do you think are those key red flags to look out for in that planning process? Maybe we can start with Nadia.
That's a good question, actually.
Have a minute to think. We'll go to Rebecca.
There is so many, but I think it's you can see first one, if that what you're doing and you're putting out kind of related to your own values, and if everything what you will be thinking about that saying or doing will be aligned with your, like it will be in harmony with themselves, with itself. So that's why I think, like, if it's nothing like that, it's a red flag. Don't do it. Think what you can do differently.
And Rebecca?
I will just add that one of the red flags is when brands prioritize aesthetics over relevance. So you could have a really amazing looking campaign and it's on trend, but if the messaging isn't tailored to a certain audience, it will just get lost or it's pointless doing. So as an example, charter brokers and shipyards, the customer base has different decision-making journey, that they've got different needs. So you really need to tailor that and use data and feedback for your campaigns.
Perfect. Sophia, do you have any last closing comments?
Yeah, I agree with both the ladies. A kind of an amalgamation of both, I guess. One is making sure there's a clear strategy in place at the start. And also I agree, I think it was brought up in an earlier conversation about the importance of a kind of cohesive strategy across social media, marketing and communications, so that you're going out with one clear brand voice. And if all three different arms are doing different things, that tends to be a red flag. And then I think the other, is coming back to that point of authenticity, so that what you're putting out feels correct to your brand and correct to, if you're the owner or a stakeholder in that brand, that it feels correct to you.
Amazing. Well, thank you so much, ladies, for your insights. I think Andrea might be popping back on. Yep, there she is.
Yeah, thank you so much. This was very cohesive. Not very cohesive, but it was so well-rounded is what I was trying to say. I love from being very custom, but then you're also talking to mass audiences when you're at the boat show, so there's definitely a fine line with that balance. I would definitely want to have Eurovisions if I've been talking and people have it. I would like people to stalk me on social media so I get customization hotels and TVs when I get in there for my stay. Thank you all so much for your input, and for everyone else, we're going to take that last 2-minute break and we'll come back with closing for the forum. Thanks.
Thank you, Andrea.
Thank you, Sydney, as well.
Thanks, Sydney.
Actually, because we're just doing closing, we're not going to take a 2-minute break, so I hope you stay tuned. I want to say a big thank you to our esteemed speakers and moderators for sharing their valuable insights, and to all you for being part of our 4th and final forum for 2025. A special thanks to our sponsors. As you know, all of these events are free and they're only built through the generosity of them. So thank you, Abordo Magazine, Moore Dixon, Pier 66, Robert Allen Law, The Crew Coach, UBI EV, and partners. If you missed any sessions, don't worry, I've already got your notes. The replays will be available soon on YouTube. I'll send the links to all registrants. If you didn't register and you just found it online and you found the stream online, don't worry. The links will also be available on the website, Yacht Femme. Our next event will be in Fort Lauderdale, where we'll host back-to-back in-person experiences during the same week, from learning how to scuba dive to enjoying a wellness escape for the next day, the very next day. After that, we'll see you in Europe, where in Cannes we'll announce the finalists for the Women's Yachting Awards. Yes, Women's Yachting Awards nominations closed yesterday, and now in between July and August, our judges will deliberate and will announce the finalists soon. Well, soon in Cannes. Thank you again. I hope you like and learned about today on the forum. If you want to know more about Yacht Femme, check out the website, or you can email me at yachting@gmail.com. We look forward to seeing you at the next Yacht Femme event as we continue to empower women in yachting industry. Thank you again and have a great day.